In the early 1990s, people who live in Heilongjiang province know AI is unaware of the shocking massacre. 42 people died. At that time, many people transmitted the words to each other. If you don't want to live, come and submit. Just this sentence. I can see the seriousness of the case. Until now, people are still obsessed by the sight of 10 bodies piled on top of each other, are in a state of serious decay. Let's find out with us today. The killer of this crime is AI, and what motivated the unsub to do it. It's so cruel. Hi, welcome to Project X channel. On a cold winter's night, 1991, the temperature in Heilongjiang is very low. It makes everything freeze. In the duty room of the Hanot Police Department, suddenly a long bell rings. Hello, we are Zhejiang Police Department. We need your support. In the investigation, a big case. At least 20 people were killed. I realize this is a murder case of a very serious nature. The police officer immediately report the situation to superiors. After implementing and agreeing on the plan, the police turned him in quickly to the address just provided. Open the door, police chief. The tunnel door was opened. Even if you are psychologically prepared, but the scene in front of me still make the police extremely shocked. Many of the people present were vomiting. A small cellar filled with dead bodies. These bodies are in a different state. Whose body was decayed to bare bones. The body still has a clear shape. The police officer looked at each other as if they were afraid. A deep awareness of dereliction of duty to this heartbreaking end. So everyone's determined to solve the case as fast as possible. The scene was sealed off a few minutes later. Forensic doctors are starting to work with the bodies lying pile up. The cold winter weather couldn't stop it. The stench of the corpse was strong. Now the temperature outside is going down to minus. But inside, the tunnel was packed. Someone who is sweating profusely. There's even some older forensics. I couldn't stand it and fainted. When you check at the lowest level, you find them. The body was heavily festering. Many of the bodies were eaten by insects. The meat only shows the bones. Because the scene was a small basement, lack of light again. It's very difficult for the investigation. The deeper you go, the more oppressive the air gets. The investigators even suffocated from lack of oxygen and poisoned by the smell of rotting corpses. This horrible murder, it quickly attracted the attention of the press, countries. The Chinese media has consistently reported about the process of solving the case of the Zhejiang police, and the people are deeply moved. Don't know, the killer has a grudge against the victims that has acted so cruelly. At the same time, they're scared. I'm going to be the killer's next target. Insecurity in the rising heart. So many people have passed on the word to each other. If you don't want to live, come and submit. While the unsub hasn't been found, then those words come again. It makes people extremely confused. Snowfall white all over the streets peeling. Everyone wants the winter to pass quickly. The sun rises again to clear away the dark fog. It's dark in their hearts right now. Search every corner of the basement. There are more than 40 bodies. The police said, this is a large-scale massacre, and it's done by a gang. Many members, known in the last year or so. In the land of there have been a number of mysterious disappearances. Most of the victims are young girls with cute faces. After information about the bodies was published in the newspaper, the family came to verify. The process of facial recognition and DNA shows the exact bodies, those who are presumed missing. I didn't want to believe it, but it happened. The truth is that poor girls have died here. People are very angry, not just because of the unsub's brutality, but also because of the irresponsibility of the security forces. The question being asked is, where was the government? While the earth is drowning in this tragedy, to build trust in the public, government has mobilized an in-depth investigation. That's 10 special police officers, day and night searching. All the suspects are in the area, but the clues are too few, so it's very difficult to localize the difficulty. But don't give up. The police made a statement without missing an AI. From people with criminal records, money to the elderly and children. By this method, finally, filtering out a group of objects and conduct inquiries. But through confirmation, none of them have a motive. The police said, this could be a professional criminal gang. It is possible after being discovered. They've fled to other areas for easy surface operation. Time goes by faster and faster. The ice is melting and the sun is finally coming out. But to meet everyone's expectations, the police can only give answers. Leveling. People are beginning to doubt the government's ability. It puts a lot of pressure on the police force. I investigated, but fortunately it's just a little late. Finally, After months and months and months, the case has found new breakthroughs. It's in a night guard. The local security forces accidentally discovered a very suspicious subject. When the night falls, it is also time for Gaheng. Show became very active. From this vital transport hub, the police always maintain a high level of vigilance, especially Li An and the Emir, who patrol the GA lobby every day. Early 1990s, the social security situation in the country is very unstable. It's one of the most important GA houses. It's very large in the south. Hangzhou GA frequently occurs thefts. Cheating one night, Your Majesty has discovered an unusual situation. In the process of patrolling, I noticed a girl in her 20s. Haircut, short face, good looking, although October. But Hangzhou weather is still quite hot. The girl was wearing a thick wool shirt. What makes the king suspicious? The girl is talking to a man. It doesn't look very decent. This man has a lustful face. Brunette skin. Wear a thin shirt. It's like the southern style, with long professional experience. The king thought that this is a meeting. That's a shady sign. That kind of thing happens all the time in GA homes. There are many objects taking advantage of crowded passengers to carry out illegal transactions in many forms. A moment later, the king suddenly saw 3 men stand 10 meters from the row, staring in the direction of the couple. 2 of these 3 people have sloppy clothes, rough appearance. It could be manual workers. The other is young white. High nose bridge looks handsome and quite attractive. However, their eyes are fierce. Make the Emir constantly watch. Emir speculates. This could be a gang. They use women to attract guests. After reaching the prey, the woman will scream, pretend like I'm being groped. Some will pose as a husband or family member, step to process and claim for damages of illegal physical abuse. Be careful with these objects. The king decided to stay where he was and ask the case to go back and call support. The police rushed to the room and summoned the next 3 members of the team. They're armed with batons and handcuffs. Be careful with a gun. At this point, the woman left the train with the passenger, followed by 3 men. The Emir quietly moved without revealing any loopholes. This situation, it's quite similar to the story. The mantis is stalking the cicadas. But I don't know. There's a sparrow in the back. Of course, the woman led her guests into a deserted alley nearby. The other 3 immediately followed. The man then summed up the prey. He also claims that he molested his wife and used that as an excuse for compensation. But the guest was confused. Said he negotiated with the Kier woman. The leader firmly denies the sex act of his wife and insists on money. See, the guy in the group, he struck the victim in the head. The other man pulled out a dagger. Request to hand over all property. The king is with 4 teams, was quickly surrounded. Notice, the situation is not right. The leader's advocate for the behavior of the group. He said it was a personal misunderstanding. Don't want to bother the police. The victim immediately objected. He doesn't harass the woman. She herself agreed to spend the night at the agreed price. Facing the suspect with the weapon, the Emir raised his gun and warned. They dropped the knife before being escorted back to the station. You know you can't resist. The suspect had no choice. In addition to throwing away the knife and putting your hands in handcuffs, as soon as the police were ready to take the suspect away, the leader suddenly pushed the policeman out and ran away, but ended up being blocked by a zone guard. They were all later investigated. When the police interrogate the suspects, 3 men confess that they're immigrants from Harbin. Because the Kier has a bad behavior, give him a lesson. The money he took out was voluntary, to compensate for the emotional damage. Except they didn't provide any more information. However, through inspection, the police found out all 4 people's identities were forged. Normally, decent people will not use fake IDs. This means that they're acting in mysterious ways. The higher the doubt. When the woman starts to have a shivering expression, pale face, the police are now sure these people must have done something bad. To grasp the woman's tip, the police began to question her several times. When interrogated, the woman seemed to be trying to reveal something, but it's not convenient to say. She's embarrassed. Ask the police for a sanitary pad. Get a sanitary pad bag and pretend to be out. The woman whispered into the police ear, I'm being forced to kill. Please save me. The woman later confessed her name to with the rest of the members involved in many murder cases. The victims included many different groups, suspicious of these objects, related to the horrific massacre case in Natha. So the police immediately reported it to their superiors. We know the name of the leader of this group of 4 is the hypothetical way. Workers at an agricultural plant in Natha district, Heilongjiang province. How to be born 1960. In a family in poor circumstances. Parents who die early are not under adult management. Since he was a child, he has neglected. Learn how to get out of high school by yourself, even though there are no intellectuals, but because of his good looks and his skillful speech. So he's very popular with the girls at the factory. That's how a lot of girls were chasing that time. But he was arrogant enough to refuse many times. It's different from the romantic look. Inside the hypocrisy way is a very dark malice. Because of his loose nature, so he's friends with a group of friends, eating without sitting, and they're still called peacocks, neighbors' flock. He and his best friends are drinking all the time. Gambling whore, working time at the factory. I have been working with many female workers, and have illicit relations, should be discharged by SA, after leaving the factory. How to start a practice of slaughtering animals. However, business is quite slow. It made his life difficult. To earn more money, he chose the path of crime. It's the robbery of murder. From about 1990. It's about wandering the streets looking for prey. His target is young women, light-hearted, with a good-looking appearance. How he tricked 10 women into his home. After having sex, he robbed them and killed them. Some people try to fight back. Then he's even stronger. After killing the victim, because of the dead body, then he threw their bodies into the cellar. There are many rumors that the robbing has become a hobby. He even slept with dead bodies day and night. It's worse than hypothetically disemboweling. Heart hook. Cutting the genitals. Fry them or cook them in a pan. And actually ate them. From January to August 1991. How to form a group of butchers together. Seducing victims and robbing them. How to start recruiting to Hoa theory. A farmer in Jeondong town and worship a worker of the delivery company. They all came together as a gang to commit heinous crimes together. For the convenience of criminal activity. How to rent a local house with a partner. In the first half of 1991, many people in the area have disappeared. Both male and female. People around are scared. I dare not walk out into the street at night, for fear of being the target of a murderer. There was the 21st victim. It's very special. That's the word, huh? She is a child care nurse. Kindergarten for the family. Agricultural factory workers submit Ha. According to the testimony, Ha and Wei are not married at all, or each other's lovers, but forced to. He must be involved in his criminal activities. From H confessed. On a night in October 1991, she was beaten by her drunk husband, kicked out of the house and had to wander the streets. The small road is sparsely shadowed. It makes you very scared. She lost her way, running towards the GA house. The train at night. At a crowded GA house with lights, it should be relatively safe. Where the word Ha met hypocrisy way. In the face of sweet words, as well as the strong body of the way, she was quickly lured home. His house is not far from Gabel. He said it was just him and his parents, so you have more trust. And they got there very quickly. Just walked in. I noticed there were only 3 rooms in the house. And a yard. Seems quite spacious. However, she discovered that there's no old man in the house. Only the wife of the hypocrite is Lida Hoa and a little girl. When you see the water, T Hoa looked at her contemptuously from hot airs. Instinctively feel that something is wrong. Hurry up and find an excuse to leave, but hypocrisy grabs you by surprise. And strangled almost to death. I was so scared that I was forced to take off my clothes. Then she was raped. Wife's way of seeing the whole scene. But you don't care. Carry the child to the next room to sleep. He woke up crying and got dressed to leave. However, he then grabbed her by the neck and knocked her unconscious. Wake up now. She found herself locked in a vegetable cellar. It stinks. Around the dark. And she suddenly felt something. It's like the flesh surrounding me. The firefighter realized it was a dead body. You're terrified. Push the door as hard as you can, but it won't open. They use their feet hard, but it still doesn't work. While you're struggling in despair, hypocrisy comes out of nowhere, holding a dagger. When you see the dagger, he got down on his knees and begged him not to kill her. Ruha promised, I'll do anything to save my own life. A way of telling you that if you agreed to work with him, he won't kill. The judge hurriedly agreed. Confessed to the police. About the crime of the hypocrisy gang, the rules say, the way and accomplices cheated some rich acquaintances. Invite them to dinner and kill them after getting drunk. However, as the number of victims increases, how to start to feel that doing so is too dangerous. probably caught by the police. So hypothetically suggest that Haru play the role of a prostitute, luring men home and killing them. At first he refused, but threatening to kill you and your parents and your sister. The road is forced to listen. At night, to the GA train house in revealing clothes. To seduce men and lure them home. When the men come into the house, they will hide in the next room. The reason is to change clothes. Then Wei and 2D offender barged in. They killed them and robbed their property. At first they cut off their heads with axes or stabbed them with daggers. Every time I cut a house full of blood. It took days to clean up these traces. Some victims are in the area, waving and uttering loud cries for help, but no one heard it either. And this process goes on and on. Until the grave is sealed. Interrogated for hours, writing with friends. Finally, Bear confessed to the whole act of his cruel murder. In January 1992. He was immersed in the heavy atmosphere and stress. In these days, the local people's court held a session. Public trial. According to the indictment, in just 2 years, from March 1989 to October 1991, Howe and others killed 42 people, 18 men and 24 women. However, when he was arrested, until he was brought to justice, he and his friends are very calm. The murderer is lying. I can't even remember. How many people have I killed? Although, the number of victims identified by authorities is 42. However, many people believe that the actual number may be more than that, because there are some cases, relatives of the victim did not report it. Some of the bodies were burned to ashes. There are also bodies of foreigners. And there were many disappearances mentioned at the time. They say that to one certain depth, the police can't dig anymore. According to the Heilongjiang Provincial Police Office, end of the investigation, in December 26, 1991, and file the case on October 31st. 2. The same year, September 1st, 1992. 4. Criminals in the case of hypocrisy. He was executed according to the law. According to the rules before execution, criminals are taken through the streets. Prison cars mocking around the city of Natha. To celebrate justice and soothe people's emotions. It's been years. But the massacre remains a terror in the hearts of the people. Ha01 AI repeats that painful memory. But the truth is still the tragic truth. We do not know the exact date of death of the victims. So the people here, they took the date of the murder. Make their first anniversary. Also regularly every year, people will celebrate a holiday. Remembering the victims. Bad news for all the people. There will be no day. It's for the Inhumans. Thank you for coming with us. In today's video, if there's any other compelling case, want us to find out, don't be afraid to share under the comment section. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Project X to learn more about real cases in the world.